So I freaking love Gravity Falls. For a cartoon, it has more depth and maturity than most of anything I've ever seen, on par with the likes of Twin Peaks, Adventure Time, Lost, the Dark Souls series, and the entire filmography of Robert Eggers. And we can thank the macabre, humorous, and yes, sometimes a bit cynical Alex Hirsch for its monumental success. Uh, so, can you imagine my delight when I heard we were getting more Gravity Falls, written by Alex Hirsch himself, in the form of the Book of Bill? Dun dun dun. Bill Cipher is one of the greatest villains in cartoon history, and possibly in all of history ever. In my not so humble opinion, he rivals even the likes of the Lich, Sauron, Voldemort, and Hannibal Lecter, who I dare say would be somewhat horrified by some of the things this crazy triangle gets up to. He's a living Illuminati symbol, the undisputed master of the mindscape, and like a full blown, mind controlling hell demon. And his book is everything I hoped it would be, and so much more. Spoilers ahead for anything and everything. As an author, I was just amazed by at how this is not just some nifty little lore book for those of a curious mind and a grooveless heart. If it was, I would have still fought desperately to get my hands on it. But it is a proper story, well written, and simply disguised as a sort of fun little activity lore book. Bill takes us on a journey through madness and wonder with some. He like really has this such a strong narrative voice in a lot of ways that it's not even funny. It's just incredible. I can hear that Alex Hirsch himself actually was the voice actor for Bill Cipher, and I can hear that voice that he does with every word, every line in the book. Meanwhile, the artwork is just wonderful with some truly horrifying images and really fascinating symbols and codes and ciphers spread throughout the book. It's not really meant for children, I don't think, but instead for those children like me who watched Gravity Falls years ago and now want more. Uh, Bill, and by extension, Alex Hirsch, in breaking both the fourth wall and the minds of his readers, is able to recontextualize the entire series in ever since episode one, really, sharing the dreams and nightmares of the main characters. My thoughts and first impressions on just that alone is Wendy, I feel remarkably bad for. Pacifica needs therapy. Seuss is a Seuss is a Seuss. And Dipper. He has a reoccurring nightmare about overhearing an argument between his parents, which he was not supposed to hear. Bill then says, "Why did you think the kids were sent away for the summer?" That alone just blew me away. Completely upended Gravity Falls for me. But Bill keeps going too, sharing some really dark truths about his birth and upbringing in the second dimension and how he did something that destroyed his world. And it haunts him to this day. Arguably, this is both his only redeeming quality and one of the most heinous crimes he's ever committed. And this is a guy who eats planets. Um, the fourth wall, meanwhile, gets broken so hard in this, with references to Robert Eggers' The Witch, my man David Lynch, and even the Cthulhu mythos. Um, there's even an extended chunk of the book where Bill forces us to read The Great Gatsby for like multiple pages, telling us to get Gatsby, sucker. While every once in a while, when Bill is asked if he is dead or alive or what, we get some of the most terrifying imagery I've ever seen. I mean, step aside Stephen King. There's a new king of horror in this town. Um, in his dying moments, we learn that Bill was saved from eradication by the great axolotl, the spirit of regeneration, which decided to stick him in cosmic therapy across the universe, hoping to cure him of his evil so that he can be reincarnated. Um, but Bill is instead planning his escape from the so called Theraprism using the magical book he managed to smuggle out into the real world in order to do so. Will he succeed? Well, I mean, there's evidence to suggest that he doesn't even need the book. All he needs is for someone to find his petrified true form, which actually exists. They built a statue and everything in our real world, but all you need to do is shake his hand, allegedly, and then things get weird. Really, very some nightmarish stuff. The Yeah, that's the Book of Bill. American history, dating advice, existential dread, humor, and the brutal disfigurement of your enemies, all contained within one low-priced volume. If there is a like, if there's one fault to this book, it's that I guess sometimes Alex Hirsch indulgence in his own cynicism a bit too much. And you really notice sometimes when Bill stops talking and when Alex just decides to vent for a bit. But I don't think it hurts the book or the story it's trying to tell, really. Um, but yeah, that's it. Like and subscribe if you want to hear me talk about some other books and stories. It really helps me out. Bill Cipher seems like a cool dude. I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine. I'm fine.